Top five, top five, top five.
So topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. Today we're on top 5 production designs in film because Haunted Mansion is coming up, and you need a great production design to even get that film. Do you have it, the tone, the vibe, to make it look creepy, to get the aesthetic? So it's very important for that film. So thinking outside the box today and doing this, he'll tell you how our top 5s work, and we'll get into them.
He's going to start with his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4, 3-2, 3-2. Then we trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means that we both have the same movie on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, then we just talk about it once.
Personally, for Strange Wang, this could have been a top 10.
Sure.
It was a very hard list to make.
Lots of movies with good production designs.
Yeah. Like, I really wanted to put Beetlejuice on here.
Yeah.
Batman 89, Batman Returns. They were also fighting for spots.
Mm-hmm.
Just saw the Barbie movie the day. That one easily could have fucking made it.
Nice.
So detailed. That's a great movie. But my number 5 is a series of unfortunate events.
Huh.
I remember watching this as a little kid and sitting in elementary school reading these books and then watching the fucking movie, and they were production designs just replicating these rooms, the reptile house of their uncles, Jim Carrey's house, and it was so vivid and matched my imagination. I was just blown away as a child that they could have these places so lively, that I was very impressed with it. And because of the little story behind it, it nudged out Beetlejuice and others.
That's fair.
But it's so beautiful because it's so different.
Yeah.
You go here, it's a mansion full of reptiles. You go to Jim Carrey's house, it's a fucking crackhead, haunted trap house looking thing. You go across the street to the wonderful neighbor who bakes some stuff. It's a house from the fucking 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
Their house is beautiful.
Yeah.
Then you get where it burns down. You get so many different places this film takes you. The house on the edge of the cliff. Like, just so creative, and they just match so perfectly. Number 4 for Strange Wang is going to be as a Zemeckis because it's the Grand Budapest Hotel.
It is a Zemeckis.
I knew it. I'm a smart young boy.
There you go. Yeah, I probably could have done top 20 or top 10 or whatever on this too. Beetlejuice crossed my mind. Jurassic Park crossed my mind as well. But the thing with Jurassic Park and Beetlejuice and a lot of other ones was they have moments of really good production design in the movie, but then there's also scenes where you're just like running around in some woods or some wilderness for a while, and that's not production design. You're just filming in the woods or a field or something like that. And so I tried to focus on things that had like the whole movie, like they had to put in work. And so my number 5 is one that you left off your list. It's Batman 89. And mostly just because, like, if you told me to close my eyes and picture Gotham City in my head, I'm going to think of the Gotham from Batman 89. The work that... I mean, you could really go with, like, any of the Tim Burton ones. Like, even Batman and Robin, which was, like, a little crazier version of what Tim Burton had started. But they still built a lot of that shit.
I picture Coolio in the alley.
There you go. But they built so much of that stuff, and like obviously you're using miniatures for a lot of their wide shots and things like that, but a lot of it really is that freaking big, and they took the time to do that, and it looks absolutely incredible. Even down to the suits, because that's part of production design, even though wardrobe is technically a separate category. But like the Batcave, Gotham itself, the locations they're going to, like, I really dig all that shit, and I think it's deserving. And then my number 4 is going to be the original Blade Runner, which I thought about this one a lot because I was like, well, a lot of it is just kind of like cityscape, and they didn't have to necessarily produce that. But then I thought about it, and it's like, man, like they took the time to like set up all these like street vendors and like all this other stuff, and you know, making the weapons, making the car when it's not the little bit of it that's CGI is just absolutely incredible, and it's super freaking detailed. And a lot of times with science fiction movies, nowadays they CGI everything, so it definitely doesn't feel real. But with a lot of like 80s sci-fi and stuff like that, and 90s stuff, it never really feels like a really lived in world. A lot of it looks a little hokey. You could tell it's kind of fake. But Blade Runner looks incredibly real, and even though it's not maybe they got the dates wrong on what the future was going to look like, because we've already passed the point of when Blade Runner is, but it still looks like it could be a real place, and I appreciate that a lot.
And since the last time we talked about it, I still think the only good part of that movie is the man saying, "Wake up, time to die." His eyes are so big. I don't know why, but I like it.
He can really open those suckers up.
He can.
Alrighty then.
So from my 3 to my 1, literally just depended on if I had the money, I would make a room in my house a room from this movie. So number 3 is going to be Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Amazing production design all throughout to create these worlds in these rooms, make them come to life. Obviously the candy room's the big one.
Yeah.
But my personal favorite one, the reason why it made my list is the half room. He has half a picture frame up, half a desk, half a lamp. It's so weird, stupid, but also genius. I've always wanted to take a picture and like cut it in half just to hang on the wall, frame and all. But glass breaks, so I can't do that.
Yeah, it's true.
But to me, that's just so simple and so beautiful, and have a room like that is such a nice conversation starter. Like Gene Wilder sitting on half a fucking chair.
Yeah, it's almost like to him nothing's ever finished.
Ooh! Exactly. But you can go in the tunnel. You can go to Charlie's house. And I'm talking about Gene Wilder. I always get the names confused. I'm glad they left the Chocolate Factory out of this new trailer. It's just Wonka. Makes things simple. But I'm talking about the original Gene Wilder one. Top to bottom, this is probably the greatest production design in film history, next to Wizard of Oz, which didn't make my list. But you just look at this thing and it's instantly memorable. You want to go there. You look around a fucking room and you want to eat things that aren't meant to be eaten, but they are meant to be eaten. And because of that, just the creativeness that went into it to pull this off, it had to make my list.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Am I lying?
It was my number 6.
Ooh, surprised it did not make your list.
Yeah.
Because last time I left it off, you put it on there.
Yeah, when we talked about color, I talked about Willy Wonka. My thing with it was, the candy room is insane. But then some of the other rooms are just like regular rooms that they painted a cool color and then like stuck a handful of props in, like the TV room.
Those are good props.
And yeah, I mean, there's decent props. They're kind of just boxes that are like painted a certain way.
Who cares?
I feel like part of the movie you got lazy in some spots.
This is a room where everything's cut in half.
Yeah, but that's like, what kind of production? Like, that's metaphorical and cool to look at, but in terms of production design, how hard was it for them to cut some shit in half and then find a way for it to stand up on its own?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to be single and I'm going to be looking for a house soon, so I'll let you know.
When you have everything cut in half?
Yes.
You're going to have half a refrigerator?
Well, no, it's going to be like...
the top half or the bottom half?
No, it's going to be like a little small room, you know? Good conversation starter. Number 2 for me is going to be, again, like you said, like more rooms are better than others, but I'm going with A Clockwork Orange because Alex has the coolest fucking room in film history to me. I love it top to bottom. It's so weird. The colors choices for it are amazing. It just works, and I would love to live in that room. Like, you had to tell me if I have Alex, the largest room from A Clockwork Orange, or Arnold, don't think he has the last name from Hey Arnold, whose room I had to live in, that would be the hardest decision of my life.
That would be a tough one.
But, well, not for you.
No, not for me.
But Alex, the largest...
he does have a cool room. I'm not arguing.
Yeah. Like, his window shade is Beethoven. Where do you get a Beethoven window shade?
Amazon.
The sun's in my eyes. Here's Beethoven. Not in 1970 whatever.
Shein.
Definitely not 1970 whatever.
Wayfair.
His drawers, how they come out, just everything in his room so fucking cool. But then the dystopian future aspect of it is so different from than inside everyone's house. So dark, so droll, so like nasty. It feels like you need to like watch yourself. Like something may happen to you. It's just a cruel world, and it matches. But then you go in everyone's house, and then even Alex DeLarge's apartment. His mom has the rooms painted every color in the goddamn rainbow.
Very Art Deco.
And then you go into the lady he murders. She has beautiful, sexual, weird, aesthetic paintings on the wall. She has a giant penis that does like this. The people he goes in, singing in the rain scene, they have a beautiful home as well. The prison is the only normal place in the fucking... And that's like fair. Like, it adds to the story elements of the film. So because of that, A Clockwork Orange is my number 2.
Nice. My number 3 is... a lot of times I take whole franchises when I do this, but I could have taken 2 or 3 movies, but I just went ahead and took the very first Harry Potter. But that's because as the series progresses, like I said with Jurassic Park, we start spending a lot more time outside where you don't have to really do much production design. You just need to find some woods to film in. And B, because it also gets progressively more CGI'd as it goes on. But that first Harry Potter movie where almost everything is practical is insane. And like, to an extent, all they had to do was find a castle. But it's like building the Great Hall with all the tables and everything. And like the work that had to go into getting all that stuff to look the way it was supposed to. The pictures on, like, hanging all those pictures on walls and all that stuff, like turning this whole location into essentially the Hogwarts that everyone who grew up reading those books and loved them had envisioned in their head.
That there's impressive.
And I can't imagine how much time and work went into putting all that shit together, because it was probably a lot. But it just feels very magical. It captured perfectly exactly what it needed to, and I just respect the work that went into it. And then my number 2 is the Zemeckis from earlier, which is the Grand Budapest Hotel. It's one thing to just take some bright colors and slap it on some normal stuff and call it production design, which that also takes a lot of time and work. But they didn't just do that with Grand Budapest. They slapped a bunch of pretty colors on everything and then arranged it and crafted it in such a way to where like the inside of that hotel just feels like the most like regal, interesting, unique place that I could possibly ever imagine being. And I absolutely love it. I could sit there and look at that all day. But it's not just the hotel. Like the museum where Jeff Goldblum gets chased down, Mendel's, the prison from Grand Budapest is absolutely insane. Like every single part of this movie is just so like well crafted. Like the freaking Adrian Brody's creepy mansion where they steal Boy with Apple. Even Boy with Apple is just like the train. Like all of it is just so meticulous, and it's all real. Like they made every single bit of that. Like, the only part of the movie that isn't real is, like, the ski chase scene. And that's just because Wes Anderson has to find a way to put some stop motion in everything he does. And I just really respect that. And, like, even the scenes that are close-up of, like, them on the sled where it's actually them, it's still not CGI'd. They literally put a camera up close to them, put a fan behind the camera, and just started throwing a shit ton of fake snow into the fan. So even that is produced, and it's still, none of it is done by computer, and I love it and appreciate it so much. And that's why it's my number 2.
This doesn't have anything to do with the video, but have you seen that meme of Harry Potter where he's talking to the Phoenix, and the Phoenix says, "A burger and fries."
Yeah.
And then the one under it says, "That's an order." And then it says, it has no credits.
Yeah.
Order of the Phoenix.
Right.
Greatest thing I've
I saw that today, actually. My wife showed it to me.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
I love your wife for that. And number one is going to be another Kubrick film. This one just has pretty aesthetic to me. It's The Shining.
Okay.
The hotel, and it's like this movie, like his work is just like so overthought because everything has to have a meaning. For him, it mostly does. But the rooms are just so interestingly placed. Like the room where Jack writes, the maze, the Indian, Native American art that covers the hotel, the elegance of the room, the party room, and you get the Scatman and Crothers house. And Scatman and Crothers room fits Scatman and Crothers. And that's the room I would have in my house. It's a fucking beautiful. It's so great. You got naked women on the wall. You got nice, like, color tone where the paintings match everything. It's beautiful. But Stanley Kubrick leaves space. It's not overly cluttered. Their room has a feel to it. The green room where the tub scene happens, that's a beautiful room. The 70s, it puts you in that time period of where this one would take place. Not 70s, like the 50s or whenever that scene took place or whatever. But everything has a purpose. The kitchen, how everything is laid out to make this hotel run and work. The guy's office, the carpet, everything in this room. And how they had the blood come out the elevator and that. And just have this, turn this hotel into, alright, he has to go down the hallways, just where he rides down the hallways and stuff. To him, the little game room he's in. Everything is just so lived in, but Kubrick, that in and of itself is chilling. Because it's too right, but it is kind of cozy. And it's just, gives you the heebie-jeebies. But Scatman's color room, that shit's incredible. And I forgot to talk about my Zemeckis, our Zemeckis from earlier. He said everything, so I will just add, Wes Anderson went in there and said, what a shame. Run it down and age it 30 years. And then they aged it 30 years and it still looked amazing.
Yeah.
So they had to take this beautiful thing they made with the hotel and run it down for 10, 15 minutes of scenes.
If that, yeah.
Because, like, you go into the hotel and it's like you get the entire front room, which is huge.
Yeah. And it's just so much more drab and faded. Yeah.
But true. That is my top 5. And your number 1, sir, is?
What else? Star Wars. But specifically the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, because they didn't use CGI to make that stuff. They literally made all of it.
It's beautiful.
And that is absolutely incredible to me. Even outside of being a Star Wars fan, it's like everything like in that movie is incredibly detailed, from the cantina to the ships, like getting to see inside the cockpits. It's like they could have taken easy way outs and just been like, we don't really, like, we could literally just paint this panel gray, but they didn't. They put shit on there. And that's attention to detail, and it adds tremendously to the viewing experience because it makes it seem like more realistic. I don't think it's possible to suspend belief enough to say Star Wars feels real, because it's just too not real to do that.
That's fair.
But when you're a little kid and you watch that stuff, it sure does feel real. But even as an adult watching it and being like, man, I know how much work I don't like to do, and they did all of the work. Like, from the inside of the Falcon to the inside of the Death Star. Like, they had to build all this stuff for them to, like, climb around. They could take very few shortcuts. Like, the only time that you could use, like, paintings as backdrops is, like, wide shots and things like that. And so the amount of time and effort that had to go into building every X-Wing cockpit, the entire inside of the Falcon, the cockpit of the Falcon, the gunner's seats in the Falcon, like, it's absolutely insane. Making all the lightsabers, making all the guns, taking, like, things that were real and then just painting them and adding stuff to them to make them look futuristic to the point to where they don't even look real anymore, is insane. And I respect the hard work. And I get why people do it, but every Star Wars movie that, like the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, all would have been so much better if they had done more practical shit. Because production designers are really good at their jobs, and you should let them work.
And I'm not lying!
They did hell at work in Barbie. So much good detail, but that's our top 5. Will Haunted Mansion make this list in the future? Probably not.
Yeah,
but it's
probably
important to that film. Let us know your top 5 in the comment section below. Score, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.